Sleepy told me the first story.
I suppose I could. What sort of stories does he like?
About himself, because he's that sort of man.
Oh, I see. I'll try. Edward Beck, known to his friends as Winnie-the-Pooh, or Pooh for short, was walking in the forest one day, humming proudly to himself. He had made up a little hum that very morning as he was doing his stoutness exercises in front of the glass.
Tra-la-la, 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 tra-la. Oh, help-la.
After breakfast, he said it over and over to himself until he learned it all by heart, and now he was humming it right through properly.
Tra-la-la, 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 tra-la. Rum, tom, tiddle, tom. Tiddle, iddle, tiddle, iddle. Tiddle, iddle, tom, tom, tiddle, tom.
Well, he was humming this hum to himself and walking along happily, wondering what everybody else was doing and what it felt like being somebody else, when suddenly he came to a sandy bank, and in the bank was a large hole.
Aha! Rum, tom, tiddle, tom. Can't find anything about anything. That whole means rabbit. Rabbit means company. And company means food. And listen, and such like rum, tom, tiddle, tom.
So Pooh bent down, put his head through the hole, and called out,
Is anybody at home? What I said was anybody at home?
No, you needn't shout so loud. I heard you quite well the first time.
Father, isn't there anybody there at all?
Nobody.
There must be somebody, because somebody must say nobody. Hollow Rabbit, isn't that you?
No.
But isn't that Rabbit's voice?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, be very kind and tell me where Rabbit is.
He has gone to see his friend Pooh Bear, who is a great friend of his.
But this is me,
What sort of me?
Pooh Bear.
Are you sure?
Quite sure.
Oh. Well then, come in.
So Pooh pushed his way through the hole, and at last he got in.
You were quite right. It is you. Glad to see you.
Who do you think it was?
Well, I wasn't sure. You know how it is in the forest. One can't have anybody coming into one's house. One has to be careful. What about a mouthful or something?
Pooh always liked a little something at 11 o'clock, and he was very glad to see Rabbit getting up with some mugs.
Honey or condensed milk with your bread?
But as not to seem greedy, he added,
But don't bother about the bread, please. Oh.
and for a long time after that, he said nothing. Until at last, humming to himself in a rather sticky voice, got up, shook Rabbit lovingly by the paw, and said that he must be going on.
Must you?
Well, I could stay a little longer if you...
As a matter of fact, I was just going out myself.
Oh well, I must be going on. Goodbye.
Well, goodbye, if you're sure you won't have any more.
Is there any more?
No, there isn't.
I thought not. Well, goodbye.
So Pooh started to climb out of the hole, pulled with his front paws, and pushed with his back paws, and in a little while his nose was out in the open. Then his ears, and then his front paws, and then his shoulders, and then...
Oh, help! I better go back. Oh, Father, I shall have to go on. I can't do either. Oh, help and Father.
Now by this time, Rabbit wanted to go for a walk, too, and finding the front door full, he went round back and came front to Pooh and looked at him.
Hello, are you stuck?
No, just resting and humming and thinking to myself.
Here, give us a paw.
Ow, you're hurting.
The fact is, you're stuck.
It all comes from not having front doors big enough.
It all comes from eating too much. I thought at the time only I didn't like to say something that one of us was eating too much, and I knew it wasn't me. Well, I shall have to go and fetch Christopher Robin.
Christopher Robin lived at the other end of the forest, and when he came back with Rabbit and saw the front half of Pooh, he spoke with such a loving voice that everybody felt quite hopeful again.
Silly old man. I was just beginning to think that Rabbit might never be able to use his front door again, and I should hate that.
So should I. Use his front door again? Of course he'll use his front door again. Good. If we can't pull you out, Pooh, we might push you back. Once Pooh is pushed back, he is back. And of course, nobody's more glad to see Pooh than I am. Still,
There is. Some live in trees, and some live underground, and
You mean I never get out?
I mean that having got so far, it seems a pity to waste it.
Then there is only one thing to be done. We shall have to wait for you to get thin again.
How long does getting thin take?
About a week, I should say.
I can't stay here for a week.
You can stay here all right, silly old bear. It's getting you out which is so difficult.
We'll read to you, and I say, old fellow, you're taking up a good deal of room in my house. Do you mind if I use your back legs as a towel horse? Because, I mean, there they are, doing nothing. It would be very convenient just hang towels on them.
A week? What about meals?
I'm afraid no meals because it's getting thin quicker, but we will read to you.
Bear began to sigh. He thought he couldn't because he was so tightly stuck, and a tear rolled down his eye as he said,
Then could you read us a staying book such as would comfort when bear great tightness?
The old gray donkey, Eeyore, stood by himself in a thistly corner of the forest, his front feet well apart, his head to one side, and thought about things. Sometimes he thought sadly to himself. Why? And sometimes he thought, well, and sometimes he didn't quite know what he was thinking about. So when Winnie-the-Pooh came stumping along, Eeyore was very glad to stop thinking for a little in order to say,
How do you do?
and how are you?
Not very how. I don't seem to focus on how for a long time.
Dear, I'm sorry about that. Let's have a look at you. Wow, what's on your tail? It isn't there. Well, there's tail there, but it's not there. You can't read it. And yours is not there. And yours is nothing. And that's how we'll look.
I believe you're right. That accounts for a good deal. It explains everything. No wonder.
You must have left it somewhere.
Somebody must have taken it. How like that?
Here, I, Winnie-the-Pooh, will find your tail for you.
Thank you, you're a real friend, not like some.
So Winnie-the-Pooh went off to find Eeyore's tail. It was a fine spring morning in the forest as he started out. Little soft clouds played happily in the blue sky. Skipping from time to time in front of the sun as if they had come to put it out. And then sliding away suddenly so that the next might have his turn. Through them and between them, the sun shone brightly. Through the trees and bushes marched Bear, down open slopes of gorse and heather, over rocky beds of streams, up steep banks of sandstone, into the heather again. And so at last, tired and hungry to the 100-acre wood, for it was in the 100-acre wood the owl lived.
And if anyone knows anything about anything, it's owl who knows something about something. My name is Winnie-the-Pooh, and it is, so there are you.
Owl lived at the Chestnuts, an old world residence of great charm, which was grander than anybody else's, or seemed so to Bear, because it had both a knocker and a bell pull. Underneath the knocker, there was a notice which said, "Please ring if an answer is required." Underneath the bell pull, there was a notice which said, "Please knock if answer is not required."
Owl, I require an answer. It's Bear speaking. Hello, Pooh, how's things?
Terrible and sad because you were a friend of mine has lost his pet and is moving about it. Could you very kindly tell me how to find it for me?
customary procedure is in such cases is as follows.
What does crescent procedure mean?
Primary care, having day,
And long word clock.
it means a thing to do.
As long as you meet that, I don't mind.
The thing to do is as follows. First, issue a reward. And
Wait, what do we do to this? You sneezed just as you were going to tell me.
I didn't sneeze.
Yes, you did, Owl.
Excuse me, Pooh, I didn't. You can't sneeze without knowing it.
You can't know without something I can sneeze.
What I said was first, issue a reward.
You're doing it again.
A reward! Be ready? Notice you say you'll dodge something to anybody who finds it was 10.
It's talking about large something. I truly have a small something in this family. Perhaps a mouthful medicinal, or not, or perhaps a lick of honey. This is where you always get in trouble, silly old bear.
Whether your browser snows only problem almost forced.
A lick of honey, or not, as the case may be.
But Owl went on, using longer and longer words, until at last he came back to where he started.
Christopher Robin was one of those signs of my Did you see them, Pooh?
No, not at all.
Did you see them? Go look at them now. Handsome bell rope, isn't it?
It reminds me of something, but I can't think of what. Where did you find it?
I just came across it first. It was in a local bush, and I thought somebody did this, so I rang it. Nothing happened. I rang it again, very loudly. It just came up in my hand, and as nobody seemed to want it, I took it home. And
Owl, you made a mistake. Somebody did want it. Ooh. You are my dear friend Felix. He was fond of it.
Fond of
He was attached to it.
So with these words, he unhooked it and carried it back to Piglet. Who put it back on? Eeyore frisked about the forest, waving his tail so happily that Winnie-the-Pooh came over all funny and had to hurry home for a little snack of something to sustain him.
Who got the tail? I, said Pooh, at 1:45.
Only it was 11:15.
I found the tail.
that was such a great story. Read me another.
Tomorrow, Pooh.
Get your rest.
One day, when Christopher Robin and Winnie-the-Pooh and Piglet were all talking together, Christopher Robin finished the mouthful he was eating and said carelessly, I saw a heffalump today, Piglet.
What was it doing?
Just lumping along. I don't think it's on me.
I saw him once, at least. I think I did. Only perhaps it wasn't.
So did I.
Pooh sat, wondering what a heffalump was like.
You don't often see them.
Not now.
Not at this time of year.
Then they all talked about something else, until it was time for Pooh and Piglet to go home together. At first, as they stumped along the path which edged 100-acre wood, they didn't say much to each other, but when they came to the stream and had helped each other across the stepping stones and were able to walk side by side again over the heather, they began to talk in a friendly way about this and that.
Did you see what I mean, Pooh?
It's just what I think myself, Piglet.
But on the other hand, Pooh, we must remember.
Quite true, Piglet, although I had forgotten it for the moment.
And then, just as they came to the sixth pine tree, Pooh looked around so that nobody else was listening, and said in a very solemn voice,
Piglet, I have decided something.
What have you decided, Pooh?
I have decided to catch a heffalump.
Pooh waited for Piglet to say, how, or Pooh, you couldn't, or something helpful of that sort, but Piglet said nothing. The fact was, Piglet was wishing that he had thought about it first.
I shall do it by means of a trap. And it must be a cunning trap, so you will have to help me, Piglet.
Pooh, I will. But how shall we do it?
That's just it. How? We should dig a very deep pit, and then the heffalump would come along and fall into the pit and...
Why?
Why what?
Why would he fall in?
Well, the heffalump might be walking along, humming a little tune and looking up at the sky, wondering if it would rain. And so he wouldn't see the very deep pit until he's halfway down, when it would be too late.
It is a very good trap, but supposing it was raining already.
I hadn't thought of that. But if it were raining already, then the Heffalump would be looking up in the sky, wondering if it would clear up. And so he wouldn't see the very deep pit until he's halfway down, when it would be too late.
It is a very good trap.
Where should we dig the very deep pit?
The best place would be somewhere where Heffalump was. Just before he fell into it, only about a foot farther on.
But then he would see us digging it.
Not if he was looking at the sky.
It isn't as easy as I thought. I suppose that's why Heffalumps hardly ever get caught.
That must be it.
They sighed and got up, and when they had taken a few coarse trickles out of themselves, they sat down again. And all the time, Pooh was saying to himself,
If only I could think of something.
for he felt sure that a very clever brain could catch a Heffalump if only he knew the right way to go about it.
Suppose you wanted to catch me. How would you do it?
Well, I should do it like this. I should make a trap. I should dig a trap, and I should put a jar of honey in the trap, and you should smell it, and you should go in after it,
And I would go in after it, only very carefully, so as not to hurt myself. And I would get into the jar of honey, and I should lick around the edges first of all, and then...
Yes, well, never mind about that. There you'll be, and their eyes should catch you. The first thing to think is, what do Heffalumps like? I should think acorns. Shouldn't you? Well, get a lot of... I say, wake up, Pooh!
Pooh, who had gone into a happy dream, woke up with a start and said that honey was a much more happy thing than acorns. Piglet didn't think so, and they were just going to argue about it, when Piglet remembered that if they put acorns in the trap, he would have to find the acorns. But if they put honey, then Pooh would have to give up some of his own honey.
All right, acorns.
Honey it is. I'll dig the pit while you go get the honey.
Very well.
As soon as he got home, he went to the cupboard and he stood on a chair and took down a very large jar of honey from the top shelf. It had honey written on it, but just to make sure, he took off the paper cover and it looked just like honey.
But you never can tell. I remember my uncle saying once that he'd seen cheese just this color. Yes, it is. No doubt about that. And honey, I should say, right down to the bottom of the jar. Unless, of course, someone put cheese in at the bottom just for a joke. Perhaps I'd better go a little further. Just in case. In case Heffalumps don't like cheese. Same as me. Ah!
Got it?
Yes, but it isn't quite a full jar.
No, it isn't. Is that all you got left?
Yes.
Well, good night, Phil. We'll meet tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock by the pine tree to see how much Heffalumps we got in our trap.
6 o'clock, Piglet. And have you got any string?
No. Why do you need string?
To lead them home with.
Oh. I think Heffalumps come when you whistle.
Some do and some don't. You never can tell with Heffalumps. Well, good night, Piglet.
Good night.
Good night. It's not time for us to go to bed, just the characters in the story.
Oh, keep reading, the rabbit.
Some hours later, just as the night was beginning to steal away, Pooh woke up suddenly with a sinking feeling. He had that sinking feeling before, and he knew what it meant. He was hungry. So he went to the cupboard, and he stood on a chair and reached up to the top shelf and found nothing.
I know I had a jar of honey there. It's very, very funny, because I know I had some honey, because I had a label on it saying honey. A galop just full of pot too, and I don't know where it's got to. No, I don't know where it's gone. Well, it's funny.
He had murmured this to himself 3 times in a singing sort of way, when suddenly he remembered. He had put it into the cunning trap to catch the Heffalump.
Bother, it all comes of trying to be kind to Heffalumps.
But he couldn't sleep. The more he tried to sleep, the more he couldn't. He tried counting sheep, which is sometimes a good way of getting to sleep. And as that was no good, he tried counting Heffalumps.
And that was worse, because every heffalump that he counted was making straight for a pot of Pooh's honey and eating it all. For some minutes he lay there miserably, but when the 587th heffalump was licking its jaw and saying to himself,
Very good honey this is.
Very good honey this is.
I don't know when I've tasted better.
I don't know when I've tasted better.
Pooh could bear it no longer. He jumped out of bed, he ran out of the house, and he ran straight to the 6 pine trees. The sun was still in bed, but there was a lightness in the sky over the 100-acre wood, which seemed to show that it was waking up. In the half-light, the pine trees seemed cold and lonely, and the very deep pit seemed deeper than it was. And Pooh's jar of honey at the bottom was something mysterious, a shape and no more. But as he got nearer to it, his nose told him that it was indeed honey.
Father, a heffalump has been eating it. Oh no, I did. I forgot.
There was a little left at the very bottom of the jar, and he pushed his head right in and began to lick. By and by, Piglet woke up. As soon as he woke, he said to himself,
What is the heffalump like? Is it fierce? Does it come when you whistle? Is it fond of pigs at all?
he didn't know the answer to any of these questions, and he was going to see his first heffalump in about an hour from now. Of course, Pooh would be with him, and it was much more friendly too. But suppose heffalumps were very fierce with pigs and bears. Wouldn't it be better to pretend that he had a headache and couldn't go up to the 6 pine trees this morning? But then suppose that was a very fine day, and there was no heffalump in the trap. Here he would be in bed all morning, simply wasting his time for nothing. What should he do? And then he had a clever idea. He would go up very quietly to the 6 pine trees right now and peep very cautiously into the trap. So off he went. At first he thought that there wouldn't be a heffalump in the trap, and then he thought that there would. And as he got nearer to it, he was sure that there would, because he could hear it heffalumping about like anything.
Oh, dear, dear, dear.
And all the time, Winnie-the-Pooh had been trying to get the honey jar off his head. The more he shook it, the more tightly it stuck.
Father, oh help! Ow!
And he tried bumping it against things, but as he couldn't see what he was bumping it against, it didn't help him. And he tried to climb out of the trap, but as he could see nothing but jar, and not much of that, he couldn't find his way. So at last he lifted up his head, jar and all, and made a loud, roaring noise of sadness and despair. Roar! And it was at that moment that Piglet looked down.
Help, help, a heffalump, a horrible heffalump. Oh, hold on,
What was the matter, Piglet?
a heffalump.
Where?
Up there.
Well, what did it look like?
It had the biggest head you ever saw, Christopher Robin. A great, enormous thing, like nothing. A huge, big, and I don't know, an enormous, big nothing, like a jar.
Well, now come on, take a look. Come on, take a look.
I can hear it. Can you?
I can hear something.
There, isn't it awful?
Suddenly, Christopher Robin began to laugh. And he laughed, and he laughed, and he laughed. And while he was still laughing, crash went the heffalum's head into the tree root, smash went the jar, and out came Pooh's head again. Then Piglet saw what a foolish piglet he had been, and he was so ashamed of himself that he ran straight off home and went to bed with a headache. But Christopher Robin and Pooh went home to breakfast together.
Oh, dear, how I do. So do I.
That was a long story. I need a mouthful of something.
What about me?
No, Pooh, not yet.